The following production is brought to you by the Talkin' Buds Leaf Show.
Here we go. Talkin' Buds Leaf Show day after game edition. Just a quick side note. I think we need to start doing more of this. I much prefer doing day after. Obviously, it's going to be circumstantial. We both have full-time jobs. We both have families, so we do the pod when it works best for our schedules. But I don't know, something about just coming on the day after, giving me the night to collect my thoughts, digest the post-game comments from the players, rewatch certain parts of the game. I just feel better and more prepared and more ready to give a take when we do the day after game as opposed to immediately following. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I do think there's nothing like a post-gamer after a Game 7 loss, though. There's nothing better than that.
It's true, but I don't know. This, I'm a big fan of doing the day after game. Man, oh man, Ryan, the Toronto Maple Leafs have the Ottawa Senators on the brink of elimination thanks to the overtime heroics of
Whoa. Let me do it.
Okay.
Simon Benoit.
What an absolute goat this guy is. I want to give you props because a few weeks ago when everyone and their mother was clamoring for Phil Myers to come in and was saying Simon Benoit sucks, you were like, Simon Benoit's pretty good. And you and Kevin Bieksa are the only two people I know who have consistently all year been like, this guy is really good for a sixth defenseman. I don't understand what everyone's issue with him is.
I don't think you could ask for any more from a sixth defenseman. That's all I got to say.
I want to kick off the conversation today with a tweet from Brian Hayes last night because I thought it really summed up the difference in what we're seeing from the Leaf coaching this year. He says, quote, only two Leafs played over 20 minutes tonight, McCabe at 21:48 and Riley at 20:11. No one played less than 10 minutes. Berube is leaning on everyone and it's paying off. And I think that is like literally, if you looked at the game sheet from a Sheldon Keefe playoff game, Austin Matthews would be 25, 26 minutes. And he just keeps running the same guy over the boards. Whereas Craig Berube, who's won a Stanley Cup, who's been there before, who's gone on a long run, understands you need every guy available at your disposal contributing. And I think you're seeing that, and you're seeing other guys step up. The story of these three games so far to me has been who's been scoring these goals for them. And when you're deploying your roster like this, it gives guys a chance to get involved in the game and feel like they're a part of it. And look what happens. They end up delivering for you.
Yeah, I was laying in bed last night and I was really I didn't realize how much emotional baggage I had about this team until they got up 2-0 in the series and now 3-0. Like I refused to let myself get to a place where I started feeling confident because I just see these guys fuck this up so many times. But then you're laying in bed and you're going, Simon Benoit. What other playoff series are we talking about anybody but the core four? And instead, all we're talking about is Anthony Stolarz and Simon Benoit. Like, there
Max
you go. That's all you need to know right there.
Yep.
It's just like there are guys contributing. Yeah, you're right. The guys who scored the goals, Ekman Larson, Benoit, Riley has a couple. Domi got an overtime winner. Like, yeah, it's a big factor. It's just the fact that we are talking about Simon Benoit so much is why they're up 3-0 in this series. It's incredible.
And just a commitment to defensive hockey and not getting too high, too low. I've always been a big believer that of all the big sports, the one in which coaching matters the most is the NFL. And then it kind of trickles down with the other three. Kind of like it matters in some instances and not in others. But this team has taken on you and I forgot to mention after game 2, the hilarious clip of Craig Berube telling Mark Savard to settle down after the goal. And he was asked about that. And he goes, we ask our players to remain even keel, so we as coaches have to do the same thing. And that, when they hired him, everyone's like, he's going to come in and he's going to be a shit kicker. He's not going to put up with any nonsense, and he's going to bench guys and he's going to let guys have it. And there's definitely been times throughout the season where we've seen on the bench him telling them to wake up and that sort of thing. But I think he's come in here with an approach of like, I need to remain even keel, and this team will embody that vibe. And that's exactly what has happened in this series. There have been moments in this series where Ottawa has taken it to them and they've been back on their heels a little bit. Remain even keel, get through it, allow your goalie to see things to make saves, and then when you get your opportunity in the O-zone, bury your chances. And that's been the difference. Like, literally the difference in this series has been Stolarz has been way better than Ullmark, and the Leafs bury their chances.
Another guy who I think, thinking about him more also, is the difference in this series is Brad Treliving. Yeah. What if you really... Like, they're up 3-0. I don't get too overconfident. Again, the emotional baggage. But if you think back to just all the teams that they've had in the past with a different general manager calling the shots at a different regime, and now you look at their team and you look at the guys contributing and the way they're deployed and like the depth on the back end, and he's done an incredible job of rebuilding this team. And I think the more I think about it, last season was the biggest. Last year we called it a punt. That was like our main thing. We called last year a punt season, and it really was a punt season. It was him sitting up there really looking at the issues of this team without him getting his fingerprints all over it. And he saw they did what they always do. He saw it all, and he went out in the offseason, and all the moves he's made in the offseason are the difference in this series right now.
100%.
So I think Brad Treliving deserves a round of applause for all the shit he did, and now it's paying off right before our eyes.
And you look at Simon Benoit as your sixth guy. His defense partner is Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Yeah. Like, they're just their back end is so... Like, think about all the goofballs they've had in the past playing back there. Just a bunch of losers. And now they Now they're just, they have depth. They have depth back there.
They have depth, and they have guys. The core four still has baggage, and I think from time to time you see it with those guys in this series. I'm not going to nitpick any negatives today. They're up 3-0. They've played really well, so we're not going to sit here and nitpick stuff. But Anthony Stolarz has taken a leadership role. Anthony Stolarz is dummying Ridley Gregg in his crease. He's jawing at Shane Pinto last night. He's barking at his teammates. Go here, go there. Pick this guy up, pick that guy up. Chris Tanev just totally calms everything down back there, has taken control, and is the number one defenseman on this team, and everyone's fallen in line behind him. The fourth line, Scotty Lawton, has been great in all three games in this series. He made 3 or 4 plays last night in the D zone. He's out there during a 5-on-3 as the guy out there killing it. They're just getting different contributions from different guys. And this all comes back to the main point. Berube keeping everything even and letting Scott Lawton go out there. He's involved in the game. It's not the vibe of the team in previous years with Sheldon Keefe behind the bench is when the going gets tough, we're going to stick 34-16 over the boards, and we're going to live or die with those guys. And you're all just going to sit here and let that happen. And Berube's just like, we're not going to do that. And I think, again, this is the veteran mindset of a guy like Craig Berube, who probably looks at these guys and goes, there's a lot of baggage here. Sometimes these 4 dudes run hot and cold. Like, I think William Nylander, for the most part, has been pretty cold in these 3 games. So it's like, okay, don't keep sticking them over the boards then. Stick someone else over the boards. Max scored a big goal in game 2 and has got it going on. Put him out there. Put Bobby McMahon out there. Put Steven Lorentz out there. Let them work hard and finish a check and get the puck back. And to me, that is Craig Berube. Craig Berube and Anthony Stolarz are the 2 biggest differences this year compared to other years.
Yeah,
when it comes to this team in the playoffs.
You compare Berube to Sheldon Keefe, and it's like to me, they clearly have more depth now than they've ever had. But now I look back and it's like, was Keefe doing a crappy job of making depth guys get involved and get them going in the game, or is their team just actually way better than it was before?
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah, I don't really know the answer to that, but I mean, you're right.
Because I think even with this roster, Sheldon Keefe would still do what he always did. Even with this same group of guys, if you have Sheldon Keefe behind the bench, he's doing what he always did. And you look at that point that Brian Hayes made, and you look at everybody's ice time, and Matthews and Marner are way ahead of everybody else. Like, that's what the case would be, 100%.
Yeah, it's a real love fest today, dog.
The NBA 82 game grind is done, and now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs are here. And it's time for all the high-stakes drama, clutch moments, and jaw-dropping plays.
I can't wait. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered as an official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will they drop 30 points, 40, or more? It's your call.
Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly.
Make it a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
It's hard to come on here and be negative today about anything. Obviously, there are some games where they're just, sometimes it's hard to wrap your head around the fact that like they aren't the Florida Panthers. Like they're not going to like just dominate a game like they are. So sometimes you're watching it and you're still kind of like, I don't love their game right now. I feel like they could be doing more, but maybe you just got to like switch your mindset a little bit. It's like, this is the way they play. Again, I said it before the playoffs started. They got to capitalize on opportunities, and their goaltending has to be really good. Like that's how this team is going to win games. And even though sometimes it looks like they're getting overwhelmed in their own zone, they're actually still keeping people to the outside.
Yes.
Their commitment to blocking shots as it's
off the charts.
Is
off the charts.
Incredible. Like they've just totally bought into just getting in front of pucks. Everybody, I've seen everybody do it. Like it's really, there's not a lot of negatives you could point out when you're up 3-0 in a playoff series. It feels weird. Like I don't feel correct. Like when this, you wake up and it's 3-0 and you're just like, what is the fuck is going on? Like I did not have this on my bingo card at all.
And listen, and I think as Leaf fans, like we're up 3-0. We saw what happened a few years ago against the Montreal Canadiens. It's you got to win the game. Mitch Marner said it after the game last night, which I thought was a great quote from him. Everybody's always critiquing his post-game comments, and he's like, the next one's going to be the hardest one to get, so we've got to be focused and go out there and get it. And I think it is so important to go in there on Saturday night and finish this thing off. You've got the Senators on the ropes. They are completely demoralized. Their fan base is completely demoralized. I thought there was a lot made of what the split of fans would be in the Canadian Tire Center on Thursday night. And I thought for the most part, it felt like a pro-Sens crowd. But I think now being down 3-0, if you're a Sens fan and you've got an opportunity to flip your ticket, some Leaf fans willing to pay through the nose for your ticket, I think you're going to see that a lot more on Saturday than maybe you would have saw last night. So it's just important to go in there, and you've got this team on the road, land that knockout punch, make a statement. All year, we're talking, the theme of this year was we got to win this division. We got to win this division. And they won the division, and they got a favorable matchup. And now you've got the opportunity to, like I said, land the knockout punch and sweep this team. Do it.
Yeah, of course.
Do it.
Of course it's important. I mean, one thing this team has never done is blow a 3-0 lead in a series. So this is just uncharted territory for fans, for the team. And you just got to put your trust in everything we'd laid out before, the coaching staff, the work they did in the offseason, their goaltending, and that they're not going to have an epic collapse here. Like I would be pretty shocked if they like swept this series, to be honest with you. Like I'm not going into next game going to be disappointed if they don't sweep, because I just think it's just really hard to sweep a team. And I don't know. But
And
I mean,
the Sens aren't just going to roll over. You're going to get like they're going to come out there. Their backs are against the wall. They're literally fighting for their lives here. But at the same time, if you go out there in the first period in Game 4 and you score the first goal, the air is going to come right out of everyone.
100%.
And the loser energy coming off the Ottawa Senators right now is off the charts. Like the Travis Green comments after Game 2 and then again last night. Like they are watching them reminds me so much of the Leafs like 6 years ago. Like this just like they're just complete. Like you can tell like, oh, this is the first time you guys have done this.
Yeah.
Because it's focusing on the officiating. It's focusing on like Travis Green's comments about the Domi OT winner and there's too many men on the ice. And if you go and watch it, it's like, actually, no, there was like 3 guys on the ice. There weren't too many men. It's just loser energy off the charts.
Yeah.
So you got this team on the ropes. Finish it off here, fellas. Finish it off. That's a huge statement to make.
Yeah. I mean, when I watched the Sens beat them 3 times in the regular season, it's just like when it seemed like they played them in the regular season, the Sens had like this overwhelming kind of speed that they couldn't keep up with. But then you watch the 3 games that have just gone by here and the Sens don't really have a lot of firepower.
No.
Like there's not a lot of dudes. Like they have a couple really good dudes. They have a couple really good defensemen who probably could have had better series, but yeah, it's just like they don't. And was the first time ever a Leaf goaltender has been in the head of another team, other than Cujo back in the day. But like
that's literally the last time. That's literally the last time you can ever remember. To me, that is the most. I don't want to say jarring. It's the part that everyone I think is having a difficult time getting used to. Is like we have the better goalie. Literally in this whole Brendan Shanahan era, that's never happened. Never happened. And to be in the head, like I said, Stolarz dummying Ridley Gregg in Game 2. Last night, going at Shane Pinto. Just like, dude's a giant in the net. A giant.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
incredible pickup. Incredible free agency signing. Like, it's shocking how good this guy has been.
Max Pacioretty drew in for Nick Robertson. I could see Berube sticking with that, especially on the road. I thought Pacioretty was okay. It's the first time he's played since February. He's going to look a little slow at there. But again, if you go in the corner against him, man, like you're not coming out unscathed. And I think that if anything is going to keep him in the lineup over Nick Robertson, it's that.
I will say that they just feel deeper when he's in the lineup.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's just his name value, like that still carries a little bit of weight for me. But when he's on that third line and you look at it on paper, and even when they go on the ice, they do feel a little bit deeper when he's in the lineup to me. Like it just brings a different element, and it just that line doesn't seem so exposed. Like because you just say the words McMahon, Domi, Robertson, you're just kind of like kind of a piecemeal line, but then you throw Pacioretty on there, and it's like, hey, that's a pretty legit third line. Like all 3 of those guys are pretty skilled or were skilled at some point, and Pacioretty being able to finish checks. Yeah, I feel bad for Nicky Robertson, but I just think they're deeper with Pacioretty in there.
Well, and one more thing I want to hit on about them finishing this off on Saturday night, and obviously knock on wood here, we don't want to jinx anything, but you see what's going on in the other Atlantic series? Yeah. Like, I think we all know who will be waiting for them in the next round, and so get this thing over with, put your stake in the ground, get some rest, get healed up, and get ready for what is going to happen. Like the Panthers just went into Tampa in games 1 and 2 and took both. Like it's they were snoozing this whole time.
I will say though that Brandon Hagel got a nice lick on Barkov though.
Yeah, he sure did.
He sure did. Fucking rocked him.
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah,
he sure did. There's a mini rant I want to go on here, and I criticized the Senators earlier for loser energy, and I'm not usually a guy who dogs officials because I think blaming refs is the biggest loser energy thing you can do. But holy shit, is it awful? It's awful in this series. These so inconsistent, calling things that shouldn't be called, missing calls that should be made. Like calling the blatant diving by the Ottawa Senators, the arm goes up. Other guys get dumped on their ass. They don't call anything. It's just like, I don't care if you want to set the tone in a series and say, listen, we're not putting up with anything. If we see anything, we're calling it, fine. Or if you're like, listen, we're putting the whistles away, you're literally going to have to take someone's head off in order to go to the box, fine. But pick a fucking lane here, fellas.
Yeah. That's
like,
what
this
I
is
hate.
insane.
The older I get, the more I hate officiating. I hate how there's just they just like call based on whatever narrative is going on. Like,
Yes.
I thought the first game they did a good job of establishing, I don't know, like they were just calling things that were penalties. Like maybe they were a little ticky tack, but they were penalties. So if you're gonna be like that for all 7 games, 4 games, whatever. Like, why do you have to just all of a sudden the third period the whistles go away and it's just I don't know. I hate how there's just you can't call a penalty late in like a tie game. It's like, why? Just keep the same energy. Just like call penalties. I that's what I hate about officiating.
Okay, buddy. We're going to get out of here. We will be back on Sunday morning. We get back to our usual Sunday morning time slot with Game 4 being on Saturday night. So if you'd like to join us for that, hit the like and subscribe button below. Once again, thank you to everyone for all the engagement, all the comments. We love the comments. Even the people who literally hate our guts, but insist on watching and commenting on every video to tell us that we're the most negative people who've ever lived, even though today was pretty positive all the way through. But we appreciate you. Any sort of engagement we love and we appreciate. So thank you too. Thank you very much. If you're listening to the audio version, please do the same.
Spread the word. Tell your friends.
We really appreciate it. We will see you guys on Sunday morning.